Hello everyone, we have some champion rebalances upcoming, so I want to talk to you guys about one of them is Lady of Ireth, who was unveiled during the Call of the Arbiter series. Badr Kazai is in his human form, was in love with this lady. He couldn't win her heart, and he went bitter and murdered everyone. Blah blah. The classics bad guy arcs. So anyway, she is a pretty decent healer, but of course, when all you do is heal and you do nothing else, it's not really very good. So Palladium decided to fix it, right? To try to fix it by not giving her some damage, but increasing her healing potential even more. And let's get to it. So this one, right, removes all debuffs from target ally, heals by 40% of their max HP. The heal can be critical, and if not fully healed, block debuff. If it's fully healed, they get 50 turn meter, right? That's what used to be. It wasn't bad, but now it's pretty good. First of all, it goes to 50% of HP and Lady of Ireth's HP. So guys, that is very important because normally imagine you're healing a damaging guy, right? If it's not an HP based champion, the chances are their HPs would be in the 30-50,000 range, right? That's how you equip a damager, and 50% of that is not very great. But the thing is, Lady of Ireth is a support champion, and she will be equipped with no less than 78,000 HP, and she would go up to 100,000. So her 50% of HP is just gonna be equal to the guy's entire HP or something. So the full heal extra bonus would always trigger, I would say, right? Unless you are healing a supportive champion. So first of all, the healing has been buffed quite a bit, right? I mean, if we assume the average guy to be 50k, which is a little bit generous, and Lady of Ireth to be 100k, so the heal has been increased by 100%, right? If that's what we assume. And also the heal can crit guys, which means if you give critical to Lady of Ireth, then that heal can be improved by Lady Ireth's crit damage. So let's say Lady Ireth has 100 crit rate and no crit damage, so the heal can go up to 75% because it's going to get a 50% bonus, and I don't think that's very necessary, right? I mean, it's going to be a nice thing when it happens, but most of the time we won't need it because Lady of Ireth's 50% of HP would generally be sufficient for the target. And there is another thing. If the ally is fully healed, they get 50% turn meter again, but now also all allies get healed 50% of the surplus heal, which means the crit rate could actually be utilized in Hydra, but I think she does a little too little for Hydra still. She is virtual and non-damager, and just heals are not it, right? Because you want everyone on the team to do something, right? Just helping your team, I don't think she would be up to par still. But for example, guys, let's say you give this gal 100k HP, right? She heals for, and she has, let's say, 50 crit damage randomly from her gear, so her crit damage is 100%, right? So she heals for 100k, right? The guy is on 30k and he was missing 20k, so we heal him by 20k, and we have 80k surplus heal, which means the entire team will be healed by 40k, which is insane, right? Yeah, that is actually rather mighty powerful. Should give a crit actually. I have changed my mind. So the buffs here that we have are the heal goes to 50% of Lady Ireth's HP instead of the 40% of target's HP, and also if the target is fully healed, which I think will always trigger now, they still get their 50% turn meter, and the allies get 40% of the surplus heal, right? And this one, it still does what it used to do, and now also applies a Painkeeper effect. It reduces all cooldowns on the entire team except for herself by a turn. Well, these two combined together, I'm not very sure. Maybe it could be some Hydra shenanigans because there are some weird teams that abuse stuff. There are some Yannicka teams you might have seen. You get a lot of shields, you grow them, you allow them to steal, then Yannicka bursts them, and you can deal several hundred million to Nightmare Hydra. Maybe she can fit in there, but the damage, I don't think we need. But still, guys, of course, a much better champion, and that's the size about of our buffs, right? Yeah, these are the only two, but I think they are a decent amount, right? I mean, they will do something nice. Next up, guys, people might maybe be sad about having empowered their ninjas. Nobel, the fodder for ninja, is buffed. He is quite the master of fear. Now he is going to be a little bit more of a fear master. So he has an ability to two random buff durations by a turn, and if the target is under fear, the chances increase, right? This becomes a certain thing. So if the target is under a fear or true fear debuff, decreases the duration of all the target's buff by one turn. So I don't know what will happen with these books, right? They will probably, be turned into 5% damage. You'll see. Maybe they will, be a little generous and turn these books into 10% damage. I don't think they will be removing the books. It's not something that Plarium does, but it will be turned into damage. So this is not very serious, of course, right? I mean, it is something very little. And on the A2, that's pretty important. First of all, guys, we got a damage increase. So this is always has potential because Plarium does not disclose how much damage has been increased by, right? I mean, if it's like 50%, it's gonna be big, right? I'm guessing something along the lines of 20 to 25%, but we'll see. So attacks one enemy will ignore 30% of target's defense, feels okay, 25%. So these are there, as you can imagine, but what it gets extra is if the target is under a fear or true fear, he gets 50% increased attack buff before attacking. That is very important, as you know, right? I mean, you get the 50% increased attack buff before you attack, which means you are going to do literal 50% additional damage, which is, of course, very nice, right? So this ability is still there, so everything is there, right? On top of it, we get damage increase and also gaining an increased attack buff if the targets are under fear or true fear debuffs. So, guys, nobody by himself is not really very bad, especially for Synchronous and don't over anything that trash related content. But if you can pair him with someone that does fears, he's gonna go insane now. Right? The other abilities are still there. I mean, he reduced the cooldown of his A3. That's there. And let's take a look at the A3. That's still there. I think we have lost this ability. That's my understanding. That's weird. So this ability has been changed. So this is no longer there. So in the previous abilities, guys, we had everything we used to, and on top of it, we would have gained some extra. This time around, we are losing something. I think we are losing this effect. And what we get instead is, if this attack kills a target under a fear or a true fear debuff, decrease the cooldown of A2 by one turn. I don't see the reason and logic in losing this ability. I mean, it's not a very good champion, right? I mean, it could have kept this one and gained that. On top of that, maybe there is something I'm misunderstanding, but it looks like he will lose the second sentence. I mean, he would be stealing instead, and he would be taking an extra turn immediately, but now he's not. And let's take a look at the passive. So there is a huge buff to the passive. It says whenever an enemy's turn meter is reduced by any champion, reduced, not fully depleted, guys, that's huge, has a 20% chance of placing fear, not true fear, but fear this time around, for one turn. So it has these books. I don't think these books will go away, so it's gonna go up to 45%. So guys, it had a very powerful ability with a huge condition. Now it has a mediocre ability with a very lenient condition. Obviously that's better, the latter is better, right? Because the thing is, now it can synergize with the mastery, right? The blue mastery, guys. And go back to Bastion. This one, right? And this mastery is very good for synchronous trash waves. I mean, I keep just getting it, right? Delaying them from playing however much you can is useful. So guys, this will trigger it, right? You get this on everyone, right? And I'm not even talking about all of the turn meter your champions would have by themselves, right? I mean, that would allow you to place a fear on them 45% of the time, which is, I think, pretty nice. And let's get back to Nobel again. I'm guessing these books will remain the same. That's why I'm saying 45%. And if you don't know the difference between true fear and fear, on both, so it feels like true fear is the greater debuff and it will make you lose your action with a higher chance. It's not, right? They both have a 50% chance to waste your action, right? I mean, a character under a fear or true fear takes a turn and tries to do something, there is a 50% chance they waste their action. So what is the difference between fear and true fear? The difference is that under a true fear, the skill that you just tried to use will go into cooldown. So, for example, if you have true fear and you don't want to waste that A2 or A3, what you can do is the A1, and then it will come at a no cost, right? If you are under a fear, you can try your A2 or A3, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, at least it doesn't go into cooldown. That's the difference. So, and of course, this passive combos with this one, right? He decreases turn meters by 50%, and that will, of course, trigger this. Everyone will have a 45% chance of getting, feared. Yeah, I mean, the damage increase is the wild card here. We don't know about it. If it's decent, I think he can be of use. I definitely won't be feeding him to a ninja now, right? I mean, I would like to keep one at least, and when you keep one, the second goes in the faction guardians. Maybe in the distant future, the empowerment can be done now. And by the way, let me tell you this, guys. I know I work on Synchronos a lot, right? I make a lot of effort to play Synchronos rooms, right? I do takeovers for them. I help others, blah blah, right? And this guy has now very powerful Synchronos trash room moves, because you are trying to get past the room just once and not actually properly farm it. Fear is a very nice method, right? I mean, imagine you do 50% turn meter reduction on everyone, which is useful already, right? You could use Relentless or Reflex set alongside with Refresh accessories to abuse this ability furthermore, and every time you have a 45% chance of fearing all the enemies, right? So what if, the most dangerous ones waste their turn thanks to the fear, right? It's gonna be beautiful. So the A1 is not really much, but the A2's increased damage, we'll have to see that. Yeah. And as I said, now it combos well with the Synchronos Trash Mastery, right? That turn meter reducing thingy, Evil Eye or something. I'm not very sure of the name. We are so used to talking about, you know, the trees and the tiers and the positions. So for example, that blessing is, that mastery is for me blue 4-4, right? I mean blue 3, support 3, 4th tier, 4th mastery from the left. That's how I'm used to it, but I think it's called Evil Eye. So I mean, these are not bad buffs, I would say. I think they are acceptable, but I wish they also, you know, change the base stats by a little, right? So, for example, Nobel could use a little bit of buff in his, you know, speed, maybe a little bit attack, but these are not bad. I mean, if you had the champions, they can be of use to you a little bit. I have neither of them, as you can see, so this didn't help me at all. I have yet to be hit by a tangible buff. I had only very few of those, and the ones that I had that were buffed didn't get really tangible buffs. I suppose the most tangible buff so far is, you know, among the recent ones is still Queen Eva. Yeah, maybe we'll get her during this summon rush. You know, there is a progressive for her. Anyways, guys, so that's about it for the buffs, and I will see you guys on stream. Bye bye.